is Smart Consulting Sourcing, the only podcast about consulting procurement or how to buy consulting services. You'll get tips on how to use consulting, buy consulting, and managing the consulting. And now your host, Helene Lafitte.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Smart Consulting Sourcing, the only podcast about consulting procurement. I am Helene, and today this is the second episode of your series, How to Buy Consulting Services Like a Pro. But before we get started, let me briefly recap what we discussed last week. So we discussed the when and why clients work with consultants. Executives typically work with consultants when they want to expand into new markets, grow and expand their business, merge and acquire a company or a technology, improve product quality, reduce costs, develop the organization, and retain talents, as well as during leadership changes. So consultants bring an invaluable and independent perspective to the project, utilizing their specialized technical knowledge, problem-solving abilities, and analytical capabilities for data analysis and financial modeling. So they are a powerful asset in helping identify the root cause of issues and create implementation plans that ultimately support effective decision-making. So they can also help teams by providing temporary extra workforce without onboarding new employees, while offering coaching services to develop skills and build capacity within organizations. So procurement should anticipate executive needs based on maturity levels of functions and team composition, along with visibility level for different projects that can impact the type and quality of consultants needed. They should also consider the relationship between the project sponsor and the consulting partners that are built upon trust and credibility factor, which sometimes goes beyond the company's interest involving career management aspects too. And lastly, it's important not to forget that consulting services are not commodities. So finding the right balance between value for money and technical capabilities is essential, while focusing more on creating positive change through improved efficiency, etc. So don't miss out on last week's episode of Smart Consulting Sourcing. So our podcast is available in the usual suspects, so like Spotify and iTunes. It's posted on YouTube if you want to watch it. And if audio and visual aren't to your thing, you can head over to our website, consultingquest.com, where we've provided the full transcript of the show in our thought leadership section. So watch it now, right? But today, we are exploring an intriguing question. What do consultants bring to the table? And how can they help you get more out of your business? So find out now as we uncover all the wonders that consulting has in store. So now let's back to our topic. Consultants bring value to the table in two distinct ways. On a technical level, the expertise often comes with years of experience and can give your organization an edge for success. But there's more. Consultants are savvy when it comes to organizational culture and politics, and they know how things work on both sides of the fence when trying to introduce measures or processes into any size operation, right? So when it comes to consultants, what kind of value are we talking about? We hear a lot about the technical expertise that they bring. That's because this is often when operational projects have their foundation in in-depth knowledge from experienced professionals who know how to get things done right. No? So what is the technical value created by consultants, and what does it look like? First of all, it can be providing outside knowledge. Consultants can provide valuable data, benchmark, methodologies, tools, and processes. They have also insights into what works and what doesn't, because through their years of experience, they have encountered a plethora of situations and challenges in nearly every industry. And it's very, very likely that your current predicament is familiar to them. Now, the value can also come from accurately diagnosing a problem and its solution. A consultant can analyze a treasure trove of information and present it to enable executives to make effective and optimal decisions for the company. Executives need to make smart decisions for the company, and a consultant can help them achieve just that, through deep data analysis combined with expertise in the field. They can provide insight that power informed decision-making that we like to call analytical skills, right? And now the technical value can come also from building actionable plans. They can successfully offer help with facilitating the generation of a capability improvement roadmap, for instance. Oh, I can already predict the response of some skeptics. Well, we work with consultants who gave us a plan, but we have no idea how to put that into action. Yeah, and actually, you're making my point. The consultants you work with were not good at building actionable plans, but that doesn't mean that some aren't. You just chose to work with the wrong ones. Once you have an actionable plan, the consultants can support your plan execution. And here we go. Consultants can help secure and accelerate the execution, bringing project management expertise and additional dedicated resources. So now let's have a look at a few examples of projects that demonstrate technical value. So it can be a supply chain footprint optimization or a distribution network design, or even a strategy project where you analyze the different markets where you could sell your new technology. You see, in these cases, the consultants will bring the technical knowledge, their experience, and the quality of their methodologies. But remember before I mentioned that there were two distinct ways in which consultants bring value to the table? Well, the second way is political value. So what is it? So political value can take many forms. And so consultants can help your organization navigate the organizational culture and politics. And it can be extremely valuable if your project is very visible to the board or the investors, for instance. It can be the stamp of approval for a given decision, or being the scapegoat. It's not me, it's Mike Boston. They say that on page 213 of the report. Look, consultants often wield their soft power to bring stakeholders together and promote agreement on a range of topics and decisions. Have you ever heard the selling it's slowly at the top? When it comes to senior leadership, that can be especially true. And consultants can provide a much needed sounding board and act as an advisor for executives. And ultimately, they can assist in enforcing unpleasant changes during cost-cutting or restructuring projects. And that those decisions are typically the most difficult for executives to make and execute, as no one likes them. Now, am I right? So if we examine a real-world example of projects that offer political value, we find them often associated with critical strategic decisions that involve the board or external parties like shareholders or governments. Pivotal choices, such as major acquisition that will shape the company's futures, or a cost reduction project where we apply set industry standards. We need 8 FTEs per team in this function, according to Mike Boston. But actually, the majority of projects entail both technical and political values. And for instance, a project to develop a new organization will require designing the new setup using methodologies such as spans and layers, and describing the new organization through processes, org charts, and job description. And at the same time, it will require navigating the waters, getting approval from the board and debugging of the entire existing organization. So we all agree that consulting is creating value, but it's not always obvious for the customer or for procurement, actually. So how can we measure the value creating by consulting? So at Consulting Quest, we have identified 3 separate categories of value: direct value, long-term value, and cost avoidance. And these buckets help us to structure the overall worth that consulting generates. So direct value is without any doubt the easiest to grasp and measure. It can be savings, improve efficiency, or a more effective pricing strategy, all of which are simpler to perceive than other values. The second bucket is long-term value. So the truth is that maybe the most difficult to measure, that that immediate value of each individual project, but you can see the effects of your efforts on the long run. For instance, working on sustainability can open new business opportunities and funding. Changing a commodities company's organization and business model into a specialty company will improve the EBITDA and the multiple. And as a result, the company will have a higher valuation on the market. Working on culture can help create cohesion and increase agility. But these effects can only be measured long after the project, right? And the third and final bucket is cost avoidance. So this is probably the most elusive of the three, because this is the cost you would have paid if you had done nothing. And so this equation is full of what ifs and speculation. And for those with a more mathematical background, it has an incredibly high margin of error, right? So fall into this category: compliance, risk reduction, or talent management, for instance. So now, great. Now we have explored consulting and all the potential value it can bring. Let's dive into what you should do with this newfound knowledge. How can procurement use this knowledge, right? Let's find out. So when we talk about value, we're also talking about price. And as a rule, the value created by the project should be higher than the price, unless you're working on compliance project, for instance. And even then, you can see the cost avoidance is the value you get, right? As a procurement leader, there are 4 things you should focus on. When you work with consultants, you need to make sure that they have the right expertise. But you also need to make sure that these consultants fit with your companies, your values, and your team. In other words, your teams should be able to work with them efficiently. And you need to build a selection process that allows you to capture that and make an informed decision. A crucial step when looking to hire consultants is ensuring that they will produce the desired impact and deliverable, including gaining buy-in from any necessary stakeholders and team. And this must be done early on in order to avoid miscommunications and extra cost down the road. So it's important you include these requirements right away as you develop your project scope, so that it can be articulated in both your request for proposal and your statement of work, right? Sourcing quickly is just as important. It's no secret that it's hard to be involved in buying consulting, and executives are often justified in their frustrations. But there is hope, right? Procurement teams can create agile sourcing processes, including a fast-track process with an updated supplier list that can rely on. No, but success depends on forming strong connection with internal stakeholders and suppliers. So anticipate, right? And ultimately, you must take into account your budget. And with thousands of consulting firms available, offering diverse services, industry knowledge, and prices, you'll find the perfect match for what skill set you need at an affordable price. So remember to plan ahead, to do your research, and stay prepared. That's the key, right? So let's summarize what we said today. Consultants provide technical and political value to organizations, such as providing outside knowledge, accurately diagnosing a problem and its solution, building actionable plans for improvement, and supporting plan execution. And political value provides legitimacy for decisions, facilitates the convergence of stakeholders on a variety of issues and decisions, act as a sounding board or a trusted advisor to top leadership, and enforces unpopular changes in cost-cutting or restructuring project, for instance. And consulting can be a powerful driver of value creation, but measuring the impact is not always easy. And fortunately, there are several ways we can quantify the effect our consulting services have on an organization or project. Direct value includes savings and improved productivity. Long-term benefits include sustainability gains or increased value over time, and cost avoidance measure may indicate how much money has been saved related to what would otherwise need to be spent. Procurement leaders have a huge challenge on their hand. They need to find the best value for their organization. But it's more complex than choosing the lowest price option out there, right? Cost avoidance and overall deliverables are also important consideration when selecting consultant to partner with. And in order to achieve success in this endeavor, we recommend you keep 4 key elements top of mind throughout each search: expertise and fit of consulting teams, securing impact and deliverable from start to finish via detailed RFPs, sourcing effectively and efficiently while respecting any parameters set forth at the beginning stages. Right. So there you go. That's a takeaway for today. And if you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Tune in next week when we come back with an even more scintillating topic, the mysterious RFP. So are you ready to take a deep dive into those nitty-gritty details of buying consulting? So we've got all the info coming your way. So make sure to take advantage of our series. Till then, stay safe and happy sourcing. And if you have any questions regarding today's topic or any consulting procurement related topic, remember you can always contact me directly on LinkedIn or by email, because I'm always game for a chat. Bye, and see you next week. Au revoir.
You've been listening to Smart Consulting Sourcing, the only podcast about consulting procurement. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit the website at consultingquest.com. Find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. For questions and comments, send an email to ellen.lafitte@consultingquest.com. See you next time.